If you thought your breakups were messy, you've got nothing on Microsoft and OpenAI. Today it broke that Microsoft is threatening to sue OpenAI, the company that they put $11 billion into early on. 3 years ago, Microsoft and OpenAI were tech's power couple. Today, Microsoft is threatening to sue because after thinking they were exclusive, OpenAI is now moving in with Amazon. Here's how the biggest relationship in tech fell apart. And why it's a big deal. So fade in on 2019. The idea of a global pandemic is just the plot of some apocalyptic movie. Old Town Road is the biggest song on the radio. And there's a scrappy research lab that's burning money that nobody wants to fund called OpenAI. Microsoft decides to write a $1 billion check. Then in early 2023, a $10 billion check. In exchange, Microsoft gets exclusive rights to run OpenAI's models through Azure. Every company that wants ChatGPT now has to go through Microsoft's cloud. Like Microsoft married OpenAI before they were the hottest company on any block. It was a good deal for both of them. OpenAI got compute, but Microsoft potentially got a better deal, which was monopoly on distribution for ChatGPT. It was a perfect marriage until one of them got a little too hot. The last year, OpenAI restructured as a public benefit corporation. It raised $110 billion from NVIDIA, SoftBank, Amazon, and started talking about an IPO. They started looking at Microsoft the way anyone who just raised $110 billion looks at the person who gave them their first million as someone they've outgrown, but we can still be friends, right? So last month, OpenAI signed a deal making AWS, Amazon Web Services, the exclusive cloud provider for Frontier, their new enterprise AI platform. AWS gets the new product, but Azure gets told it's still the exclusive provider of stateless APIs. Here's what that means in plain English. Right now, when a company uses OpenAI through Microsoft, every interaction is one and done. You ask a question, you get an answer, and then AI forgets that you were ever there. That's what Microsoft gets to keep. But what OpenAI is building for Amazon is completely different in a way. It's AI that stays with you, holds your company's data, remembers your last conversation, runs tasks across your whole business. That's the product that companies will pay up for. So Microsoft gets a one-night stand and Amazon gets the marriage. Microsoft is not interested in an open arrangement, however. So the Financial Times reported today that Microsoft is actively weighing a lawsuit. A source inside of Microsoft said, direct quote, "We know our contract, we will sue them if they breach it. And if OpenAI and Amazon want to take a bet on the creativity of their contractual lawyers, I would back us, not them." So Microsoft is playing hardball. That's a threat from a scorned company that just watched its partner leave for someone with a bigger checkbook. The way that OpenAI is trying to get around the contract is almost funny, unless you're Microsoft. They're basically arguing that what they're building on Amazon is not technically the same as running their AI on Amazon's cloud. It's a different kind of product, they're saying. It's different architecture, different wrapper. And Microsoft is calling them out on a bullshit loophole. This matters because a huge amount of the AI economy was built on the assumption that Microsoft and OpenAI were a package deal. Azure's valuation, its enterprise sales pitch, the reason the Fortune 500 CIOs choose Microsoft over Google and Amazon, all of that is predicated on the idea that if you want the best AI, you go through Azure. That is no longer the case. If OpenAI can run its most important product on AWS, that story collapses. And every company that chose Azure because of its OpenAI edge now has to ask if they picked the wrong side and potentially reevaluate their contract renewal. The timing is bad for both sides, though. So OpenAI is preparing to go public. A public lawsuit from your largest investor filed when you're trying to IPO is nothing short of a nightmare, which is why OpenAI privately believes likely that Microsoft won't actually sue, because litigation would also force Microsoft to open its own books and contracts to scrutiny while it's dealing with separate regulatory investigations into its cloud business. So both sides are pointing a gun at each other and neither wants to pull the trigger. We'll see what happens, but it's mutually assured destruction, like any good cinematic breakup story. So Microsoft was there for OpenAI when nobody else was. They built their life, their cloud around them, told all their friends, investors, that it was a package deal. But now OpenAI's raised $110 billion and is moving in with Microsoft's biggest competitor. The most important partnership in AI is falling apart in public, and the winning company is, yet again, Amazon.